Black waitress takes disabled boy's hand. Billionaire dad freezes when he sees what she does next. A billionaire walks into a dusty little diner with his silent, disabled son, expecting nothing but coffee and quiet. But when a black waitress kneels down, takes the boy's hand, and whispers, just 3 gentle words, the child reacts, for the first time in years. What happens next doesn't just shock the billionaire, it changes all their lives forever. This is the story of a boy who couldn't speak, a waitress who wouldn't give up, and the moment a hardened man saw a miracle unfold before his very eyes. Please support us. Buy 1 subscribe, like, and share for more with activating the notification bell. Thank you. Ethan Carlisle was a name that echoed in the corridors of power. At 41, the tech billionaire had built an empire from scratch and now spent his mornings reading contracts over black coffee in 5-star restaurants and his evenings buried in quarterly forecasts. But no amount of money, power, or prestige could fix the one thing that truly mattered to him: his son. Oliver Carlisle, just 6 years old, was born with a rare neurological condition that left him unable to walk and barely able to speak. He relied on a wheelchair, physical therapy, and full-time care. Ethan loved him more than life itself, but found himself increasingly overwhelmed by the demands of parenting a disabled child alone, especially after his wife passed away in a tragic car crash 2 years prior. One rainy morning in New Orleans, where Ethan was finalizing a merger, he stopped at an old-fashioned Southern diner named Betty's Corner. It was small, locally owned, not his usual style, but it had glowing reviews and was known for being low-key. He needed low-key. He wheeled Oliver inside, who sat quietly, his big blue eyes scanning the room. They were seated in a booth by the window, and soon a waitress approached, young, black, with warm eyes and a presence that seemed to light up the room. Her name tag read, Tamara. She smiled down at Oliver first, not Ethan. "Well, aren't you just the handsomest boy I've seen today?" she said, her voice like honey. "Hi, I'm Tamara. I'll be taking care of y'all." Ethan gave a polite nod. "Just coffee for me, and pancakes for him. He's nonverbal." Tamara knelt beside Oliver, maintaining eye contact with him. "You like pancakes, sugar?" she asked gently. Oliver blinked, then subtly nodded. Ethan froze. He hadn't seen Oliver react to a stranger like that since ever. Tamara's smile widened, and she gently reached for Oliver's hand. "I got you, baby. I'll make sure they're extra fluffy." And that's when it happened. Ethan's eyes narrowed. He expected Oliver to withdraw like he always did, pull away, cry, anything. But instead, Oliver squeezed her hand, just once. But deliberate, certain, Tamara's eyes glistened. "Well now," she whispered, "aren't you a little miracle?" And Ethan Carlisle, a man who had stared down boardroom titans without blinking, felt something strange tighten in his chest, something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Over the next few days, Ethan returned to Betty's Corner each morning. He claimed it was for the pancakes. But it was Oliver who insisted, more animated now, even reaching for his coat when Ethan hinted at breakfast. Tamara always greeted them with the same radiant warmth. She began to learn the subtle cues in Oliver's behavior, things even Ethan had missed. "See how his fingers tap twice on the armrest when he's excited?" she whispered one morning. Ethan blinked. "I never noticed." "Sometimes, all it takes is someone watching with love," she replied simply. It wasn't long before Tamara started joining them briefly at the table. She had a gift, an instinct. She sang softly to Oliver while clearing the table, taught him how to tap his fingers in rhythm, and somehow unlocked something buried inside him. Ethan finally asked, "Where'd you learn how to work with kids like him?" Tamara hesitated, wiping her hands on her apron. I used to be a child therapist, she said softly, before things fell apart. What happened? My baby sister passed. Hospital error. I lost myself after that. Quit everything. Waitressing's all I could do where nobody expected me to be perfect. Ethan was stunned. Not just by her story, but by how easily she shared it. No pretense. No angling for sympathy. Just truth. And something else occurred to him. Every therapist, specialist, and expert he'd paid thousands for had treated Oliver like a patient. A puzzle. But Tamara treated him like a person. A child. And he was blooming under it. 3 weeks in, things changed. It started when Tamara brought a small handmade sensory board. It had soft textures, lights, and a button that played music. Thought he might like to explore while he waits on his pancakes, she said. Oliver didn't just like it. He lit up. His fingers danced over the Velcro and feathers and rubber. Then, he laughed. A quiet, broken laugh, but real. Ethan couldn't believe it. He hadn't heard his son laugh since before the accident. Do you hear that? He asked, voice cracking. Tamara smiled. That's joy. You've been waiting on it a long time. From there, progress snowballed. Oliver began pointing at things on the menu. He reached out toward Tamara when she arrived, a kind of toddler-like excitement overtaking him. He even started making small sounds. Vocalizations, tiny syllables. It wasn't full speech, but it was something. And Ethan? He was undergoing his own transformation. He stayed longer at the diner, canceled meetings, and started watching, not just his son, but Tamara, the way she listened, the way she saw people, not their money, not their disability, just them, it. Made Ethan realize how rare that was, and maybe, just maybe, how lonely he'd become. Ethan finally did what he hadn't done in years. He invited someone to dinner, Tamara. She was hesitant at first. Why me? She asked, brushing a curl behind her ear. Because you've given my son more progress in 3 weeks than professionals did in 3 years, Ethan said. Because I trust you. Tamara agreed on one condition. Oliver picked the place. So, they went back to Betty's Corner, at night this time after closing. Tamara had convinced the owner to let them use the kitchen. I'll make you both something real Southern, she promised. She made shrimp and grits, fried green tomatoes, and peach cobbler for dessert. Oliver squealed with joy when he tasted the cobbler, smearing it across his cheeks. Tamara gently wiped his face with a napkin and whispered, You're perfect, just how you are, sugar. Then it happened again. Oliver said a word, a real one. Tam. Just that, but Ethan dropped his fork. Tamara gasped. Oliver beamed. Ethan stood slowly and placed a hand on his son's shoulder. You said her name, he whispered. You actually said it. Tamara's eyes welled up. He's been trying to tell you for weeks, Ethan. He knows you're watching now. That night, Ethan offered her a job. Not as a waitress, as Oliver's full-time developmental coach. I'll triple your pay, move you into the guest house, whatever it takes. Tamara hesitated. Are you hiring me because of what I did for him, or what you feel for me? Ethan looked down, suddenly unsure. Then she smiled, soft and certain. Let's take it one day at a time, for him and for us. It wasn't all smooth sailing after that. There were regressions, outbursts, even a moment when Ethan blamed himself for everything that had gone wrong in Oliver's life. But Tamara stayed. She taught Ethan how to listen with more than his ears, how to slow down, how to forgive. Eventually, Ethan brought Oliver to a new neurologist, one of the best in the country. The doctor ran tests, evaluations, observed Oliver interacting with Tamara, and gave a verdict that stunned Ethan. Whatever this woman's doing, it's working. I've never seen a child respond like this. Your son may not just improve, he may thrive. 6 months later, Oliver spoke his first full sentence, not to his dad, not to his therapist, to Tamara. He said, You make me feel brave. Ethan broke down. Tamara held him, and in that quiet, ordinary moment, beneath the warm lights of Betty's corner, with the smell of grits and syrup in the air, a billionaire who once thought money could solve anything realized it couldn't hold a candle to love, patience, and human connection. Tamara never wore a white coat or had a PhD, but she saw Oliver when no one else could, and she healed not just a boy, but a man who thought his heart had died with his wife. Ethan eventually did marry Tamara, but not because she fixed his son. She wasn't a miracle worker. She was a listener, a healer, a woman who taught them both how to live again.